Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to
Gaming Friday. Woo!
the Gaming Friday edition of VR News, February 17th, 2017. Start with the game Syren. You guys may recall, if you watched the video a couple of days ago, I was really excited about Syren. All right. In between my probably 40 attempts to get Whick Chronicles, to the editing stage, I tried Syren out. And the first thing I remember reading about it that kind of was a letdown were people saying that the graphics that you see on the screenshots in Steam no way represent what you actually see in game. So of course, that's the first thing I look for. And sure enough, it looks blurry, which is strange. This is the Unreal 4 engine that they're using. It's not a bad engine. It's a pretty kick-ass engine. So I check my settings. I set it to Ultra because they had released a patch basically the first day to open up Ultra settings for PC. Now, that did help things. Suddenly, the graphics for the environment were pretty much like the screenshots. They were really crisp, really clear, very Unreal Engine-like at that point. What I ultimately ended up being disappointed with, and I'm not going to get into this in great detail because the quick look is going to show that, it was the models of the creatures themselves. When they are the centerpieces of your set pieces, they need to be impressive, awe-inspiring, whatever the hell you want to call it. There's got to be something about them that makes you cower in terror. I almost laughed when I saw the first one. And the first one is one that basically jump scares right at you. For some reason, most of the asset work went into the background. So I don't know if it was two different people. I don't know if they, purchased assets and then the game or the creatures were things they added themselves. Whatever the reason, they don't match the general look and aesthetic of the station. They're these creepy underwater beings. They really should have gone for a good look for them. They're just basically comical. And it was literally me chuckling when I would see them for that reason. So we're going to do more in-depth on that. But thus far, guys, far from the excitement I had of 2 days ago, that has been tempered big time to bring me back down to earth to they've still got lots of potential. We'll just stick to that until you see the video. Speaking of videos, John Wick, finally done. That will be up after this video. Also, got the Rift sensor. So this is the official third Rift sensor. This was waiting at work for me, which is kind of nice. What is strange, and I knew this was the case, but I kind of blocked it out, I guess, subliminally or whatever. I knew they included the active extension cable. I just forgot that it was 2.0. And it seems odd to me that it is 2.0. Again, I know the setup. They actually recommend for the third it be 2.0. But they also talk about overloading USB channels. And I just can't help but think maybe it would have made more sense for 3.0 for that third sensor. Maybe that's part of their issue, but they are much more skilled than I am. They've got to make that determination themselves. I just found it was a little odd. Even though I was aware of it, when you see it, it kind of reminds you. All right, first news story. The Vive Purchase Bundles. So we've known for the longest time it's been the Gallery Episode 1 and Zombie Training Simulator. Those were the two bundled in free games that you got for the $800 US kit. Well, now what they're doing, it's a promo until March 31st, is they've got 2 additional games in there. But don't get too excited. They're not that good. In fact, they're pretty bad. Now, Everest VR, to be fair, is a great experience. It's fun. It is priced a little much for the amount that it actually delivers time-wise. Like, I thought it was way too short. If I remember correctly, it was about 30 minutes. It was just laughably short. Richie's Plank is the other one. Now, I did a quick look on that, And other than the one gimmick with the plank itself, if you're scared of heights, if you're not, the whole thing might not be worth it to you. But to be fair, I haven't checked on any updates since I did that video. For all I know, they may actually have a plot in the game now. Whereas before, it was literally get a real life plank of wood and test your fear of heights. So that is until March 31st of 2017. Vive claims, and it's via Vive Port. That's where you're going to be able to purchase these, not through the Steam store. They claim it's about $75 worth of entertainment. And sure, if you do the breakdown, you're at $17, $18 per game. Personally, I think that's still a little bit high in terms of what I would actually rank the quality of the 4 games. I'd put that closer. By far the best is the Zombie and the Gallery. That to me would be $50 worth right there. Then if you look at the remaining 25, split that between the other two. Okay, I guess you could. Still a little bit on the high side. All right, next up. Joshua Bell VR experience. This is a 360-degree music video from Sony. So they haven't really publicized 360-degree content much at all. We knew about the YouTube that was released for PlayStation VR, but mostly it's been gaming-centric. Well, this is a musical 360-degree experience that apparently is very, very good. So if you are an audiophile or you appreciate classical music or classical instruments like violin, that's what this is. It's basically a violin concert with multiple people on stage, other instruments as well. And what's so neat about this is, and I'll let the description describe it, there are 360-degree videos that are good. There's 360-degree 3D videos that are better. And most recently, VR video, which would be classified as kind of the high tier, the high end. The latter includes all the features of the first two, so 360 plus the 3D component, but with one major addition, and that is positional tracking. And that's what this experience, what really sets it apart from some of the other stuff. Like I did a Joan Jett one, Pretenders one, actually. And it was good. It was the best one I had tried, but it wasn't 360. And it wasn't really, really crisp, but it was immersive. So I can only imagine this would probably knock it out of the park for that. I did have a look at the video. The sound quality sounds good. They've also used a lot of binaural kind of techniques for recording it. Hopefully that plays out on the actual version, which I hope to try sometime over this weekend. So again, that is the Joshua Bell VR experience, PlayStation VR. Next up, the Vive Tracker dev kits. So they are going to start shipping. Now, originally it was going to go to the 1,000 developers that had signed up and kind of gone through the screening process. Vive has now opened that up, and they still plan on launching second quarter of 2017, but they basically opened it up 1,300 additional spots. So 2,300 dev kits in total are going to be sent out. And this next story kind of ties into the distribution efforts, the 2,300 of the tracker units, in that this was a company, and they had tried, and I can't remember their name, they had taken the tracker and created a mobile experience where you could basically look into somebody else's VR experience with your phone and join in multiplayer. You could shoot enemies, have an actual impact on the environment, which was a pretty ingenious use of the tracker at the time. These guys have now gone on to create basically a Daydream hack. I'm going to include the pictures here, but it puts a 3D printed clasp on the top of your Google Daydream HMD, so right on the visor, and then the tracker mounts on that via the VESA standard tripod screw size. I think it's VESA or Imperial, whatever. That screw is where it ties in. Now, personally, on the top of a head via some kind of head strap probably would have been better tracking wise, because there would be some inherent occlusion, having it stationary in front of you like that, meaning anything behind you, you're literally going to block the entire tracker. So that was a little puzzling why they didn't put that on the top, but for whatever reason, this provides tracking for the Daydream unit, positional tracking, which as a mobile solution didn't have it. Hopefully somebody will be able to do something similar for Gear VR. That would be awesome. Some details have come in on the types of activities that Oculus is going to undertake to ensure that the next 2 updates nip this Oculus tracking thing in the bud. And specifically, Mitchell commented on it, and he said the reason for the delay and no firm final date is because 1.12 is going through an expanded quality assurance and testing process to make sure we haven't overlooked any new issues. As soon as it's ready, we will ship it. And he said this is something we've wanted to do for a while in terms of other features that they're going to be adding as well. All of that available on the link, but it gives you a little bit more insight into the delay itself and the reason for it. At the end of the day, we just want it to work. I'm going to be really curious how this third sensor impacts me. If I'm going to be one of the people that experiences tracking issues or it works seamless, but I'll let you guys know when I find out. Last news story, very cool from a YouTube point of view. Yes, there are people doing 360-degree content videos on YouTube. No, nothing to date has really impressed me until this. Wasn't even aware of these guys. It's So Crispy Media. Apparently, these guys do a lot of cool video editing techniques on their videos. I have not watched any videos while I was prepping this other than the one video that I'm going to have linked below. But what I researched about these guys is that they do a lot of fancy video editing techniques. You know, gun effects, explosions. Anyways, they worked Grandma and other YouTuber into this video. And it's basically one of the duo getting pulled into virtual reality. And they managed to do that in 360 degree, but also using a lot of animation set pieces. And apparently they were in collaboration with others, the Corridor Digital crew, video magician Zach King, fashionista Lindsay Rem, etc. And they assisted with a lot of those assets and kind of the more technical side behind the animated portions of it. Either way, really cool. Check out the link. Probably the first YouTube 360-degree video that, you know, I felt was worth it and compelling enough to want to watch. So check that out in the link below. All right, guys, that is it for the news. As always, cheers and have an awesome Gaming Friday.